Buenos días, camaradas. Thank you. Over these 100 years of global revolution, 58 of them have taken place just 90 miles from the shores of U.S. imperialism. It is an understatement to say that the glorious Cuban Revolution is a major accomplishment. We owe this mainly to Fidel Castro Ruz. Now, in 2016, Fidel and one other person dominated world news. That was the year our beloved comrade Fidel died. Fidel was a genuine communist, an exceptional Marxist-Leninist, and a staunch anti-imperialist. Cubans say he was such a visionary that he could see around the bend of a corner. To live in the time of Fidel was a privilege. It is equivalent to have lived in the time of Lenin. Fidel built a movement that was able to wrest a nation not only away from the capitalist class, but from imperialism as well. Right under imperialism's nose, Fidel built socialism. He defied countless acts of sabotage, including at least 600 assassination attempts on his life. How did he do this? What can we learn from Fidel and Cuba in order to do the work we need to do here? We in the party aim to defeat capitalism and build socialism. That's kind of a big task. We might even humbly say bigger than the task of building socialism in Cuba. Which brings us to Donald J. Trump, the other major figure who dominated the news in 2016. Where Fidel stands for hope, for struggle, for equality, Trump represents the sick and rotten stench of capitalism. Trump is a white supremacist, a misogynist, anti-immigrant narcissist. Fidel unites, Trump divides. Fidel strives for peace, Trump pushes for war. Polar opposite. But what can the one, our hero, tell us about how to deal with the other, our enemy? Simply this: it is our duty to find the ways to fan the flames of mass struggle, to find the ways to open a national revolutionary struggle against Trump, Pence, and all the rest. At this juncture, it is our responsibility as revolutionary socialists to widen the struggle against white supremacy, to bring out the masses in record numbers, to organize the fight like never before as it enters this new heightened stage. The question is how? Here is one way not to. The Democratic Party Now, I know you're not applauding the Democratic Party. Okay. The Democratic Party has co-opted the term resistance. Hillary Clinton, a resistor? What a disgusting insult. The day after Charlottesville in Durham, the movement, including our comrades, joined a protest organized by liberals to mourn the life of Heather Heyer. We asked the organizers there to speak. After all, we had been in Charlottesville the day before. What did these so-called resistors do? They called the cops on our comrades. A resistor who calls pigs on our black and brown activists is a disgrace and should be exposed. That is not a resistor. That is not a resistor, but a class collaborator. Liberalism, as it manifests itself in the Democratic Party, is a challenge. It is a block and a derailment to struggle, and it must be attacked. For example, the unity against Trump between some Republicans and Democrats sows nothing but confusion. How can sanitizing and liberalizing warmongers and racists like George Bush and John McCain be helpful? It is not because it is not helpful, because it completely lets the system off the hook. There are nuances, however, and this is where lessons from Fidel come in. One of the important pillars of Fidel's work was building unity. Before 1959, Fidel worked to bring together many social forces to defeat Batista, including reactionaries. Complex, right? I said Fidel almost single-handedly built the Cuban Revolution, but of course it takes more than that. But he was able to unite an entire island. He embraced and held 10 million people in his hands, leading them to victory. What do we do here when hundreds or sometimes thousands are marching at actions called by the Democratic Party? Do we ignore them? Do we just let liberals influence them? I don't think so. For at that protest might be a 16-year-old who was our next Fidel or Fidela or Fidelix. A seasoned Venezuelan revolutionary told me recently, "Es mejor una marcha de pendejos que un pendejo que no marcha." It is better to have a march of dumbasses than a dumbass that doesn't march. I really like that. We will go to these events, or most of them, we don't have to get crazy, but we will not unite with those who want to defeat Trump on an anti-Russian basis. Trump and Pence and all the rest must be defeated because of their white supremacist, anti-immigrant, sexual predator views. What are our next steps in the fight against white supremacy? Well, we're going to take that up this weekend. But one of the things is, let us turn to the working class, comrades and friends. Go to every housing project, union hall, prison, and city corner and urge on the fight against capitalism. Our party must be the best fighters for our class. Our founder, Sam Marcy, often said, "We fight for socialism, but we must also be the best fighters for a street light." Everything from education to healthcare, fight to defend and expand the Americans with Disabilities Act, to finally jail every goddamn killer cop, we must push the struggle further and further. A liberal pundit said that Charlottesville was the opening salvo in the fight between fascism and human decency. Wrong. Our Durham comrades showed that it was the open salvo between fascism and the militant struggle against capitalism and white supremacy. Take it down, don't whitewash it. Fidel once said that fascism would never take hold in the U.S. Why? Because he had confidence in the working class of this country. And he's right. Because after all, this is the class that gave the global working class May Day and International Working Women's Day, that produced Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman, Emma Tenayuca, and John Brown. It is this class that helped to defeat the U.S. war in Vietnam, apartheid, and so much more. This is a class that gave us the glorious Stonewall Rebellion. And it is you today, here in the belly of the beast, that takes the question of gender identity and LGBTQ oppression to a whole new level that transcends anything we have seen before, here or around the world. Pence wants to send us to a conversion camp. We got a camp for you. That's right. And we have a party. We have a party like no other in the world, steeled in the national question, a defense against imperialism like nobody else. Class is primary. Racism is not secondary. We are that party. Just ask the comrades who went to Cuba recently. Yeah, I went there. Our party, at other moments of great peril, rose to meet the challenge by organizing mass mobilizations to fight back. It's workers' world that initiated and built the coalition that brought out 100,000 people on May 3rd, 1981, in the first great national demonstration against Reagan. It's workers' world that built the Peace for Cuba rally in New York, which is to date still the largest demonstration in support of the Cuban Revolution. We are the ones. We, the communists, we, the party of the workers and oppressed, the queers, the black and brown, Native, Asian, and Arab, women, disabled, we're the ones who can and must step up to organize the great mass resistance. In the coming days, comrades and friends, we will unite to win the hearts and minds of the working class, reach out to the most advanced and even some of the most backward. For in that unity is the fight for people's power, which is the only power that will defeat the system. Fidel, Che, Sam, Harriet, Lolita, Malcolm, Chang Ching, Amilcar, Ho, we hear you, we see you. And Cuba, you are right. Socialism or death.